We're recording. We got it figured out.
Right.
How you doing, Rowan?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I haven't actually connected with you since you left. It's been a while.
I know. I'm excited to have a conversation and not just talk to myself in my tent.
I know it's it seems like it shouldn't be that awkward or that hard, but it's really difficult to generate an interactive video when you're just interacting with yourself.
Yeah, it's much more. I was saying I get rambly even in a conversation, and so when it's just me and I have nobody to kind of keep me on track, sometimes I forget what I'm actually talking about.
I feel like being inside
So
of
I'm looking forward to having you help you remind me.
definitely. So where are you at right now?
Right now I'm in Moses Lake, Washington.
And how many miles have you traveled?
I have traveled 2,047 miles, I believe.
Holy buckets.
Yeah, many more miles than I originally thought. My original route that I was looking at was only going to be about 1,700 miles. Yeah, and I'm well past that at this point.
Yeah.
I've taken a couple detours intentionally to see different national forests and things and national monuments. But I ended up going up into South Dakota. That was completely unplanned and unintentional, but because of that, I got to see the Badlands. I got to ride through the Black Hills, stop at Devil's Tower, and then because that took so long, I ended up meeting other friends, and it's all played out very interestingly, but it's all turned out really well. So,
So it's the way it was supposed to be.
yes,
Nice.
exactly.
So how many miles do you have left?
About 400, I want to say, and that depends on how far up the Olympic Peninsula I want to go, I suppose. Right now, I'm thinking about going. I forget the name. Cape something, but it's basically the farthest northwest you can go in the continental United States. So, wow. Yeah. But I don't know if I'll quite go that far north. The weather is going to dictate that, and I've been kind of planning more day by day as time goes on. So really, people ask where I'm going to be in 3 days, and I can only say, I don't know, this general area.
So how's that going to transfer when you have to, or if you choose to, go back to normal life?
That's something that I'm looking into not having to do.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've thought about that, and after experiencing something like this, I mean, I had wanderlust before pretty bad, and this is just, expanded that so much more. And so I'm looking at possibly taking some seasonal jobs, maybe for like 2 or 3 months through the winter, saving up some money. And then when that job is up, just hopping right back on my bike and starting to ride again. So I can kind of take odd jobs here and there and not have to be committed for too long. They're only expecting me for a couple months, so I don't have to, worry about that at all. Or if I can continue to sustain myself just through online, putting up content and donations and my Patreon and things like that, I might just continue riding and ride until I can't anymore. My body's feeling pretty good right now, honestly. So as far as physically, I don't feel like I would need to stop yet. It really, it's just kind of my financial situation that would tell me when I have to start looking to settle down for a little bit.
I know that says a lot for your planning and kind of your instinct for this being your first run on something like this.
Yeah.
You have went extra miles and your body feels good. You definitely were tuned in beforehand on what you need as far as carbs and protein and sleep and hydration. So you must be doing a really good job listening to your needs.
Definitely. And it's in doing that, like I've really tuned in on what exactly I need and how many miles I can ride and to sustain it going day after day. And at the beginning, I think it was day 6 when I took my first rest day, and I was really feeling it at that point. And now I still rest and I stretch constantly, especially at the end of the day. But as far as really having to schedule out my rest days, I maybe haven't done that as much as I should, but physically I still feel really good. And it's just, I feel like as long as I listen to my body and, take those shorter rides when I feel like I need them, that maybe I don't have to take 2 days off as much as I thought I might have to.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I wanted to just talk a little bit about, maybe for someone who hasn't watched us before or you talking to us, that Blue Nebraska's purpose is to support Nebraskans in times of struggle. So in my head, struggle can be an outward struggle as far as you are having physical difficulties, you're having financial difficulties, but it can also be those difficulties like in the mind or in the heart of,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not satisfied. I'm not satiated. I'm waking up every morning going through the motions and I need something to give. I need to get to that. So that sounds right. So in my head, that's kind of maybe where you were. It's like you're a Nebraskan and you were struggling with doing this day-to-day stuff. You had wanderlust. You knew there was something calling for you to do. You didn't quite know what, but you needed to get there. Is
Yeah,
that accurate?
I would definitely say that's accurate. Yeah.
Awesome. So how much does it take, like financially, for you to be doing this? If you had this easily planned, how much money would it take to do this type of adventure?
Oof, that's a good question. That, I mean, it really depends on kind of what you're comfortable with, what you need with your diet. Um, in Nebraska when I was riding at first, um, I was staying at a lot of campsites and things because a lot of the land out there is private. Um, and so I couldn't just kind of go off into national forest. So I was spending a little bit more money, for those actual campsites each night. And the further west I've gotten, uh, there seems to be more public land, BLM campsites, national forests that you can go off into and things like that. And so I've been able to do some more primitive camping or stealth camping, and not have to pay for campsites as much. And I feel like a lot of that has kind of come just with time and learning how to scope things out and not falling to just jumping on the first campsite I see, keep riding and keep looking for places. And then with food, uh, I eat pretty much the same thing every single day and every single night. Lots of just canned beans and vegetables, peanut butter and banana burritos, things like that. So I eat pretty cheap. And so that, some people might want a little more variety, or to eat out or something a couple times a week. So really it varies with everybody. But, I also want to say just don't let the financial part of things uh, stop you from getting out, even if it's just like a 3-day trip or something. You can do it with the gear you have, and you can do it for a lot cheaper than it might seem like at first. You can spend as much money as you'd like, but also if you really want to get by with, just finding a random spot in the woods and eating a can of beans, you can do it for very little money.
That's awesome. Do you, as far as the traveling part, you talk about a lot of the places you're going to. What does it feel like to actually be feeling the geography of it? Like oftentimes, I went on a motorcycle ride the other day with a friend, and I haven't been on the back of a motorcycle for years. And
Mm-hmm.
just that feeling of no doors, a little scared of, geez, everything's going by me and there's no protection. But at the same time, I felt all of the air changes. Like with
Yeah.
you, you're not just driving by and looking. Like you are getting it, like the dust in your mouth, the sun on your skin, the rain on your back, the mud on your tires.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely an incredible way to experience the country. And you notice all of the uphill, that's for sure. But it's so amazing. Like going uphill, there's some times where it's rough. I'm giving it all I've got. My legs are going a million miles an hour on the lowest gear, and I'm just barely scooting along. And then there's people flying by me on the roads, and they're on their motorcycles and just going up the hill in 2 seconds, and it's taking me 2 hours, and I'm halfway. You know, um, but at the same time, while I'm doing that, more often than not, I'm in some of the most beautiful areas that I've seen. So I can, put in my headphones, listen to some music, and just kind of look around me and keep my legs moving, but try not to focus on that and just focus on the beauty and see, the bees and the flowers. And I'm amazed at the wildflowers that just grow everywhere. I've definitely noticed that, and seeing kind of the transitions as it goes from state to state has been really cool with that too.
You've had some really good photos. I've been amazed. Unless you've done a lot of studying in taking photos, you've had some absolutely great photo ops.
It's pretty easy when you're in just beautiful natural areas all the time.
Well,
And
and
I
you're
try
so
and
slower.
focus in more on and show people, the tiny details that I get the time to really stop and notice and see all the little critters running around. And some of them, I see lots of chipmunks and things that are too quick for me to get videos of. But yeah, like there's been a million praying mantis everywhere that I just see on the side of the road. And um, it, I didn't think that there were that many out here, I guess, or not in
Yeah.
such concentrated amounts, but it's been cool just to see, notice all the little things. And so I want to try and uh, communicate that and show that to people through the photos, as well as, just take pictures of my bike and not have everything be a selfie.
Understand. So what's been going on in your mind this whole time? I mean, you've got endless amounts of time to think. I would assume
Yeah.
you've got some sections of boredom and probably some sections of fear, and then some things that hit where you haven't thought about for a while, or maybe you didn't even know you needed to think about them.
Hmm. Yeah, it's been interesting. Definitely have, a lot of time in my head, and sometimes, um, I listen to music, and sometimes I think, and sometimes I'm trying not to get too frustrated with the wind or the rocks while I'm writing and stuff. Um, but yeah, it's been wild. Like my birthday's coming up, and so lately I've been thinking a lot about that, and just kind of where I was at this point last year, and how much different everything is. And especially, some nights I'll look at the map and just seeing kind of the distance that I've ridden my bicycle, and thinking about that. And yeah, it's just being, last year I was turning 24. I was moving back into my parents' basement on my birthday. I was leaving my house, and I was uh, quitting a job for another job that didn't really pay as much, but it was much more fulfilling. Uh, and at that point, I just decided that, uh, this year I'm just going to keep my head down. I'm going to keep working on me. And I didn't really know what I was working towards, but I knew that I was going to be working towards something. And, um, thinking of all the lessons that I learned along the way and the people that help influence me to get me to where I am now. Um, and it's been a lot of effort, but in the same hand, like it's in the decision making, it was almost effortless. Like it's just amazing how everything has kind of fallen into place, um, is in the strangest ways. And sometimes, you have to, just effortlessly go about and just keep, moving forward, even if you don't really know where that's going to lead. Um, and it'll bring you to some pretty incredible places.
It's, for whatever reason, I think humans always think that we need to like gear up, get the best boat, the strongest paddles, and paddle uphill, upstream
Mm-hmm.
to this destination that we decided this is where we have to go, instead of maybe sometimes just hopping in the boat because following the water and not even knowing if we go with the stream, it's going to loop us all the way around to that same goal anyway. Maybe it's the long way,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't any effort. It was faith.
Yeah.
So I, I'd assume that's probably a little bit of what you're taking from this is the more open you are, the more accepting of too many rocks and strong wind, the more you're able to see the things that are really good coming out of it versus only focusing on the struggles.
Yeah, exactly. And even, with meeting these two, Eric and Rachel, they've been, I couldn't even imagine the journey without them. It'd be a completely different story. And um, if I would have kept with, my initial route and just powered right through, like me having to take the long way through and power through like the Bighorn Mountains that took days and everything, that was all just, kind of building up that time for us to end up in the same spot at the same time in this Walmart parking lot in Cody, Wyoming. People were from all different corners of the United States, but we all ended up there at the same time. And yeah, so sometimes when it seems like you're taking the long way around, it's for a reason. You might not have any clue, and you might want to try and find it the whole time, but then yeah, you get then you're like, oh, okay,
Well,
this is why it had to
yeah,
take so long.
it's the sneaky part because if you try to find it, you won't. Like you have to just let it be, and then you find it, which is so
Exactly.
frustrating. So frustrating.
Yeah, definitely.
And these guys are going to drive you kind of up and past the fire run area, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, so the other day, like the fires have been burning, but we had was 5 miles an hour gust. See 10 feet in the road. So
Cutting up
I
a little
was
bit.
far enough and trying to get out of there. Um, and all those plants off the fires to speed even more. And so now that they're pretty close to 90, which is kind of the route I was getting taken through. So also take.
You're a little garbled, and now you went quiet. I'll wait and see if you come back in. Oh, we lost you. So we'll hang out for a moment and see if he comes back. Rowan Mitchell is one of the folks that we're following and working with through Blue Nebraska. In exchange for his interviews and letting us go on this journey with him, we're helping fund him with some small donations from the nonprofit. So Rowan is from Fremont originally. I know his parents, and have known him as he's grown up. And when he spoke with me about what he was doing, I thought, oh my gosh, this completely aligns with something that Blue Nebraska would want to get behind. So if you're curious why we're following Rowan and doing interviews with him intermittently, that's why. And I know that he is using wireless internet, that he's getting out at one of the Walmart parking lots where he's camping or waiting right now. So we'll wait and see if he comes back on. So if you need to go to the restroom or check an email, take the time and do it. We'll give it a moment. Check to see if maybe he'd message, but he hasn't sent anything. So he must be trying to reconnect. And if you guys ever have any questions for us, if you want to make donations to Rowan and you didn't quite catch how you could, even if you have suggestions of other people you know who are doing something similar as far as an adventure, whether it be unrelated to that, please get a hold of us and let us know. And I think Rowan's coming back. Are you here? There he is. Oh, it's hey,
Back.
you're back.
Sorry, I don't know what happened there. It was working great, and all of a sudden just cut out.
No, you're a little garbly, not bad.
Okay.
See.
Okay. Hopefully it clears up.
That seems a little better.
Okay, and now there's a plane taking off as well. This is.
Well,
There's also an airport right by the Walmart, I guess.
gotcha. Well, two important things.
Yeah, that's true.
No, so I didn't get to hear you say.
What were you saying?
Or how far the run was to go past the fires.
Yeah, so it's about, I think we're going to be going maybe about 100 miles. I'll be about 70 miles outside of Tacoma, I think is where we're going to drop me off at. And they're going to continue up north to see some friends. And then I'm going to go down to Tacoma to see some friends and then continue around up to the Olympic Peninsula there. So to the national park, I think I'm about maybe 200 miles or so.
So if you've got.
So that I could probably cover in a.
Yeah, in no time. I mean, the amount of miles you've traveled versus having 400 left, it feels like you don't have long to go.
No, that's, yeah, a very small portion of what I've already done. And if I, I don't know exactly how the train's going to be, probably a little more mountainous, but I usually average about 50 miles a day. So, break that up. I could do that in about a week or so.
So what happens when you reach your destination? What then?
I haven't really thought about after. Honestly, I'm just focusing on getting to the coast. I'm going to enjoy the national park for a while and then, see whether or not I need to try and find a seasonal job and ride there, or if I can just continue pedaling south. And obviously, I'll have to kind of see where the fires are through Oregon and California as well. That'll definitely dictate where I am able to travel safely. So, but as far as really detailed plans, I'm just going to kind of wait until I'm there and
That's perfect.
See where everything is.
Because I guess that goes back to what we talked about.
Too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, then things go wrong. If you don't have a plan, then everything's just happening.
Exactly. Well, your break, it gave me time to explain to people why we were following you. And I just let folks know that if they have questions for you and can't reach you, they can ask us. If they want to donate and support you, to let us know. Or if they know someone else who's doing something similar as far as an adventure, something that's really like satiating and feeding their soul, to let us know. So as you come across people in your path too, if you think there's someone that we should talk to or interview, let us know.
Definitely, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Help build that community and inspire one another.
It is, because, sometimes when you think about helping people in times of struggle, you just think about hurricanes or tornadoes, or you lose a job and you give some money or some clothes. But those actually are struggles that are kind of small in the big picture. People's, even in that situation, their struggle is more about what's going on inside than their t-shirt or a paycheck. So this type of stuff is good. It lets people, get to know you as you go. I think sometimes a lot of people want to let go and not have their day job or not have as many responsibilities, but they think that they're going to be seen as unresponsible or not dedicated or unstructured. And
Yeah.
actually, that stuff sometimes it doesn't suit everybody. So if you want to be your best self, you kind of have to decide what structure is for you.
And honestly, I find through doing this, the people that break away from the more traditional living are some of the most, dedicated and ambitious and responsible people out there, because a lot of these folks, they've built their living space from nothing. They have to have a strict budget. They have to plan. There's not really anything laid out for them. It's all thinking on your toes and, overcoming adversity every single day, just about. And so, yeah, if you want to do something, it's not always going to be glamorous. And that's also, I've been thinking, where a lot of people, I feel like they hit the struggle and then they just have the daydream of it, that everything is just going to happen and it's all going to be shiny, like you see on, Instagram and
Yeah.
sometimes. And that's not at all what it is. There's some really rough moments in anything that you're going to, try and accomplish. But that struggle is what makes it worth it. And in some cases, I mean, the harder it is, the better the outcome is going to be of the result. And that's why not a lot of people are doing it, because it isn't easy. But that makes, once you get that fruit, it's so much sweeter,
Yeah.
because, not everybody has got already picked from the tree.
Well, and I follow Steve Earle, and in one of his interviews, he heavily mentioned how songwriting is a discipline, how creativity is a discipline. And I think a lot of people who aren't
Mm-hmm.
active in that creative world, whether it be a chef, a songwriter, an interior decorator, a cyclist, if you aren't in there, you forget or haven't been made aware of the fact that doing something like that on your own, because you're driven, it's your passion, it's your satiation, it's your vision, that is a straight up discipline, because no one else can get up and do it for you every morning, every minute. It's just you.
Yeah.
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 Peanut butter, banana,
It's so
burritos,
hard.
and all.
There's moments too where it's hard and you want to stop, but then it transfers to everything in life, but especially on a bike tour, I can't just stop when it gets hard, because then I'm going to be sitting there in the
Yeah.
middle of nowhere and nothing's going to change. Like, you have to keep pushing through that struggle. And so
Yeah.
sometimes it's always not as literal as that, but
And that's kind of funny.
that's really the case with everything.
Yeah.
Like, when when it gets tough, you can't just stop, because then you're not going to be going anywhere.
I just
You're
had this
going to be
visual.
sitting there in that dust storm.
Yeah. I did. I had this visual of you sitting on the ground next to your bike with the dust storm going around and like a bubble going, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Doesn't work that way.
Not how it works. And you build, a lot of mental strength and willpower. Definitely gets tested, but
Yeah. This is
you
awesome.
have to test it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to let you go because we talked a little longer than we anticipated, and I'm sure you guys are getting ready to do something exciting. So thank you for taking the time to keep us.
Me trying to dodge the fires. Yeah,
That,
thank you for doing this. I'm glad we finally got to both have good service and everything. I guess I was able to. You probably have it a lot more frequently than me.
well, no, give it another couple of weeks again, and when you hit a spot where you know you can zoom in, no pun intended, get a hold of us, and we'll be ready to see what you're doing.
Definitely. I look forward to it.
Okay, take care of you.
All right. Thank you. You
Bye.
too. Bye-bye.